The worst part wasn't the crying. It was the silence. After Ben died, Clara's world became a muted film. The apartment they'd shared for 8 years, once alive with his off-key humming, Lily's giggles, and the espresso machine's impatient hiss, now echoed with hollow, accusatory quiet. Even the refrigerator's hum felt like a rebuke. "You forgot to pay me." Fin. She stopped wearing her wedding ring. Not because she wanted to, but because her fingers had thinned to bone, the gold band slipping off while she scrubbed toilets at the office building downtown. When she realized it was gone, she sank to the bathroom floor, clutching Lily's stuffed rabbit, the one Ben had won at a carnival, and screamed into its matted fur until her throat bled. Chapter 1. The Coffee Stain. The morning it all unraveled began with a coffee stain. Clara had slept in her diner uniform again, a wrinkled blue polo with Marty's embroidered over her heart. Her hair, once chestnut and glossy, hung in a greasy knot. She'd forgotten to buy shampoo. Fin. Lily sat at the table, methodically tearing her toast into tiny soldiers. "Daddy liked the crusts," she said, not looking up. Clara's hand jerked. The mug slipped, scalding coffee searing her wrist before crashing onto the blouse she'd laid out, the last clean one, pink with tiny daisies, a relic from her before life. The stain spread like a bruise. "Damn it," she hissed, slamming the mug into the sink. A chip flew off, skittering into the void beneath the fridge. Lily froze, her crayon midair. "You said a bad word." Clara wanted to collapse, to wrap her arms around her daughter and sob. Instead, she scrubbed the blouse raw, her knuckles splitting against the sink's edge. "Failure. Failure. Failure." The word pulsed with each scrape. Chapter 2. The Ghost in the Diner. At Marty's diner, Clara wore numbness like armor. Regulars joked about her resting zombie face. Truckers whistled. Teenagers snapped their fingers for refills. She moved through shifts like a ghost, her mind replaying memories on a loop. Ben teaching Lily to ride a bike, his laugh as he chased her down the sidewalk. "Look, Clara." No hands. One afternoon, an elderly man sat in her section. He wore a tweed coat patched at the elbows and a hat flecked with rain. His hands trembled as he stirred cream into his coffee, the spoon clinking like a funeral bell. Clara's throat tightened. Ben's hands had trembled too, near the end. "What can I get you?" she asked, forcing cheer. He ordered pie. Apple warmed. When she brought it, he pointed to her name tag. "Clara. That was my wife's name." His voice was gravel and honey. She froze. "Don't ask. Don't." "She's gone now," he said, staring at the pie as if it held secrets. 14 months. The dam cracked. A tear slid down Clara's cheek. She swiped it away, but he noticed. "Grief's a funny thing," he said. "Comes at you sideways. In the smell of coffee. The way light hits a window." Clara fled to the kitchen, pressing her forehead to the freezer door. When she returned, he was gone. On the table lay a $50 bill, a napkin folded into a crane, and a note. "The cracks are how the light gets in. Walter." Chapter 3. The Parking Lot. That night, Clara's '98 Corolla sputtered and died in the diner's lot. Rain needled her skin as she kicked the tire, screaming curses at the sky. Lily was at a neighbor's, waiting. Always waiting. Headlights cut through the downpour. Walter's pickup rumbled beside her. Without a word, he popped the hood, tinkered with wires, and got the car running. "Why are you doing this?" Clara whispered. He looked at her, rainwater dripping from his hat. "After my Clara died, I tried to join her. Pills. A rope. But one morning, a girl at the grocery store paid for my milk. Said I reminded her of her grandpa." His voice broke. "That stranger bought me time. Maybe I'm buying you some." Clara shattered. She collapsed against him, weeping into his damp coat. He held her, his own tears lost in the rain. Chapter 4. The Library. Walter became a fixture. He brought Lily books, Charlotte's Web, Matilda, and taught her chess in the diner's back booth. "Your daddy's stars," he told her, "they're not broken. They're just hiding behind the daylight." One evening, he took Clara to the town library. Ben's favorite place. "I can't," she begged, trembling in the doorway. Walter pressed a key into her hand. "They need someone to run the children's hour." Part-time. Benefits. I'm not qualified. You're a mother. You've survived hell. That's qualification enough. Chapter 5. The first story time. Clara's hands shook as she held the giving tree to a circle of children. Lily sat cross-legged, eyes wide. She read, and the tree was happy, but not really. A boy in front sniffled. Why did the boy take all her branches? Clara's voice wavered. Because sometimes we don't see how much we're loved until we're empty. Afterward, a woman approached, cheeks wet. My husband died last year. This helped. Clara glanced at Walter, who winked from the back, sipping terrible library coffee. Epilogue. The mended blouse. Years later, Clara keeps the coffee-stained blouse in a shadow box above her desk at the library. Beside it, a photo of Ben, Lily, now 16 and too cool for stargazing though she still goes, and Walter, who's 89 and still brings crossword puzzles. At Ben's grave, she leaves a single chess piece, a knight. You'd like Walter, she whispers. He cheats at checkers too. One rainy afternoon, a young woman staggers into the library, soaked and shaking, a baby on her hip. Clara hands her a towel, a book, and a key. Why? The woman stammers. Clara smiles, touching the shadow box. The cracks let the light out too. The lesson. Grief is not a stain to scrub away. It's a thread woven into the tapestry of who we become. And sometimes, the people who help us carry the weight, the strangers, the survivors, are the ones who teach us that brokenness is not the end. It's the place where hope begins.